Okay, so your name and where you're joining us from. Your name and where you're joining us from. Can you share your name, where you're joining us from? Great. So I want you to please. I was looking at my notes a few minutes before before coming up to teach. Just zooming in on it again, and I can almost tell you it is going to blow your mind. So another thing before we go on, can you take this link and can you share to? Oh my goodness, Faith from Kaduna. Wow. Can you take this link? It's a YouTube link intentionally, so people could throw in. And could you send to everywhere, every group you are in? So take this link, send it to everybody. You know, everybody, your enemies, your friends, just everybody. Tell them to join in. All right. So let me first of all give a preamble. This meeting was not meant to be a public meeting. It was meant to be a private meeting. Are you with me? With exclusive people, our alumni. All right. Alumni. However, I chose to make it open to the public. So I want you people to please pay attention. Very, very important. But let me ask you a couple of questions before we fly through. How many of you are entrepreneurs at the moment? If you're an entrepreneur, I want you to type what you're doing. If you're in university, type a university, type, for example, I'm a hairdresser in Covenant. And if you're not, type, I'm planning to start a business. All right. I'm going to teach you some things with all humility. There's a high chance a lot of you have never heard what I'm about to teach tonight. I'm telling you. All right. There's certain things that I teach that are generic, but I'm going to zoom in a bit deeper tonight. So I want to beg you again, if you're, you know, if you're distracted tonight, please plan to not be distracted. All right. It's quite important. So let's get the link everywhere and let's fire through. So, in case you don't know me, so today, part of the reasons why, if you've ever been on my webinars, I always have prepared slides. But if you notice, I'm going to write today. And I'm going to write amongst many things because it is that deep. All right. I didn't prepare slides. I'm going to write and I want you to follow me very, very carefully. Some of the things, again, that I'm going to share with you are going to be mind blowing to you. So I want you to pay an extreme amount of attention. An extreme amount of attention. Are you with me? Right. Okay. So I'm going to move very quickly and just move into exactly what we have. So, like I said, I'm going to write live because the things I want to teach may have some level of complexity, but I want you to pay serious attention. So, ideally, this should be a series of events because the curriculum that we want to cover is quite exhaustive. All right, but I want to believe that I'll cover as much as I can and then move through. Now, let me first of all start by saying I am a very, 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 very strong-worded teacher, and that essentially means I don't care about your feelings. I care about your pockets. Did you hear what I just said? I don't care about your feelings. I care about your pockets. All right, and that's my entire assignment to ensure that pocket gets fatter. So please, if I speak in a way that is strong, have mercy upon me and just listen to what I want to say. Does that make sense? Just have mercy upon me and listen to what I'm about to say. It's very important because many a times the problem with many people, I've said something jokingly, seriously. You should not be broke and be proud. It's an abominable combination. Being poor and being proud. Are you with me? It's the formula for the. I mean, and I don't know why it's like that. How many of you have realized that poor people are usually very proud? Do you know who I am? Just as I said, sometimes you look at some people, and you're like, you know, this is. Yeah. So you have to open your mind, right? So again, I want to beg you that you pay attention to the things that I'm going to teach you. At some point in time, as you go on, I'm going to ask you for responses, feedback, and I want you to also do that. Do we agree that you're going to give me a lot of feedback, a lot of feedback, a lot of feedback all through? Okay. So like I said, please, you must not be poor and proud. All right. Once you are poor, all right. And you know exactly, poverty doesn't mean lack of money. Let's even start from this foundation. Poverty doesn't mean lack of money. All right. Lack of money is the result of poverty. Poverty is not equal to lack of money. Poverty essentially means that the coordination of thoughts in your head, right? You are running by a set of information, all right, that are translating into you taking a certain set of consistent actions. And the result is that the income in your account, sorry, the money in your account always goes down. So poverty is the entire construct of the human being that ensures that resources do not stay long in his or her hands. Are you with me? So it's a build up. It's that construct. The result of that construct is lack of money. So, and many a times people don't realize that lack of money is a singular expression of poverty. There are many other ways that we can tell that you are broke without lack of money, because some people actually have abundance of money and are still broke. Are you with me? And essentially, if poverty is actually, like that, then it beckons that the person who has those kind of results must realize that in order to have superior results, he must be willing to realize that whatever piece of information he either has and is applying or doesn't even have at all is not optimal. And he must be ready and willing to lay down that information to take on superior information that is well. I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense. Remember, we talked about feedback. So if it's making sense, type sense. It's quite important. Are you with me? All right. So I want you to please listen to me quite carefully. So, like I said, one of the most the entire idea of this webinar, first of all, let me even start by saying, is to expose you to what I call generic repeatable concepts. I want you to type that, everybody. Generic repeatable concepts. All right. Remember, I told you this is going to be a very high level webinar, so I want you to pay attention. All right. Generic repeatable concepts. I want you to type that. I intentionally released the link to this webinar quite late also. I released it very late so that, you know, I will have very, 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 very limited number of people joining. All right. Generic repeatable concepts. Now, what are generic repeatable concepts? I want you to pay attention. Generic means, listen, it does not apply to just one context. So, for example, if you go to school, there are things that apply to every single student in the school. All right. I'll give you an example. If it comes to stuff like reading, everybody, engineering students like to make themselves look above the world, for example. So they say their course is harder than everybody's course. I was an engineering student. and I used to look for that trouble. Um, Also, I used to look for that trouble and say, when people say they are in final year, I say, no, 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 you are in your fourth year. Let's be clear. Final year and fourth year are very different. Or you say final fourth year, right? Because there's final fifth year that you did not touch. Message students will be looking at me like, sir, what exactly are you saying? Please, 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 please. So, but most of them, they think the hardness is only engineering, and some people have run from engineering and run to a department that they thought was easier, but what they realize is that hard exists everywhere. It's just that it exists in different forms. So they went to another what do you call them, another department, thinking it will be easier, and then was also hard. Are you guys follow what I'm saying? All right. So generic in that it's good wherever you land yourself, you're going to find it. Everybody who is in school has to read to pass. Has to, you get what I'm saying? So it's general. Number two, repeatable. You see, I was teaching somebody, I said, listen, and something we teach in the higher training course. I said, the value of something, anything you do in business, is that it must be repeatable. Because if you do it once, it's a miracle. And guess what? Miracles do not happen every day. Some of you didn't catch what I just said. If you do it once, then it's a miracle. And miracles don't happen every day. So I explained to him, I said, look, the process by which you use to achieve a result is more important than the results. You must value the process. Because when you have the process, what happens is at will, you can do it again. Let me ask you guys a question. How many of you ate food today? You've eaten today. If you've eaten, type eating. You've eaten food today, type eating. You've eaten food. You took whatever you ate, rice, bread, fries, salad. You've eaten. Now, and you probably eat tonight or tomorrow morning. Guess what? You probably were not so concerned, oh my goodness, how am I going to eat? Except there's some special medical condition. It's really not a challenge to eat because it's a process that you have mastered. Let me digress a bit and then share this with you. Listen, life is always a game of cause and effects. Are you with me? Life is always a game of cause and effects. So you do things, and the things that you do have effects. For example, if you probably get married, guy and a lady, you guys get married, you sleep with each other, the effect of that is a child. Right? If you take a gun and you shoot somebody, the person dies. The effect of that shot is a gun. If you eat, you get full. The effect of that feeling of the food is that the hunger feeling vanishes. Are you with me? You become powerful in life to the degree that you have the ability to study causes and not effects. Because what happens is the more courses that you have in your hands, the more things you can do at will. I'll give you an example. In Nigeria, rain is a miracle. Or not a miracle. Rain is usually attributed to be a sole act of God. And so many a times we wait for the rainy season. You don't know that. But if you go to a country like the UAE, like Dubai, for example, what you find out is in Dubai they have what they call cloud seeding. Because Dubai is essentially most of the UAE guys, they're deserts. They built a city out of the desert. So you find out that while you in Nigeria can need to wait and hope and believe for rain, they don't have to do that. They can create the rain. Do you understand what I'm saying? They can create the rain. And so that's the difference. The more courses you can master in life, the more grip you have on life as an individual. I don't know if that's making sense to you guys. Right? So, like I said, and one of the things that, how many of you have you've been to, I think you've been to. I remember I was in university. I'm sure there was a particular student that I knew, really great, sounds very intelligent, but for some reason, something happened, and they were accusing him that he he engaged in exam malpractice. And the guy looked at them. I think one of the things he said was, "Okay, sit me down to write the exam again." Do you understand? Because he was so confident that, you know what, take my paper, no wala, give me a fresh one, and I'll do it again. All right. Life becomes less mysterious with the more courses that you have at your fingertips. Right. So we're going to talk about generic, repeatable concepts. Right. Remember, I explained generic in that they work everywhere, repeatable in that they work every time. Maybe not every time, but they work times, so that regardless of what business you do, you can always apply them. So maybe you do sewing, you could apply them. You do real estate, you could apply them. You understand what I'm saying? And those are the kind of things that I'm going to be touching tonight. If I'm clear and I'm making sense already, can you give me feedback? Give me feedback. Let me hear you. Great. Okay. Now, I want to say something that I want to, in fact, I'm going to pause because there's a lag between when I'm speaking and when you're hearing, but I'm going to be that patient. There is a very foolish question that people ask me every time I get to places. So I have a story, that I'll share with people, that I was privileged to hit my first million when I was 18. I was privileged to have my first million. So I'll share the story, and they'll come and ask a very, very foolish question. You say, "Sir, what business? What business did you do to make your first million at 18?" How many of you ever asked this question to anybody that you look up to or you honor or respect? How many of you have asked this question? I've asked this question. So you've asked this question at any point in your life, you're going to ask somebody, "Sir, please, you said you made money from real estate. Can you mentor me?" How many of you have asked this question? I think it's a very foolish question. And many of the times when I see those kind of questions in my DM, I do not answer them. I receive a lot of questions and I do not answer because, see, the quality of questions that you ask tell me the kind of person that you are. Are you with me? And many a times, the problem that you have is not the problem that you have. Let me go on again. How many of you have been to a doctor before and then you thought you had a very minor problem, right? But when the doctor examined you, you knew that, we are, you know that you are looking at the big deal. Because the problem many of us think we have is a tiny subset of the actual problem we have. And we're going to see that today. Follow me very carefully. Because when people ask me this question, this is how they are thinking. And in their head, is a very smart way to think. This is how they are thinking. They are thinking, it means, listen, if I can take all that he did, hmm, and photocopy what he did, are you with me? Hmm. It means I will have the results that he had. And it's a very unintelligent way of thinking. I don't know why people think like that. And so I've seen people who are doing actual stuff. I remember when I was in 300 level, a guy came to me, one of my friends, still a close friend of mine, and he was begging me because then I used to be in a particular business. I think he was into something robotics, and he was telling me, "Please, I want to learn. I want to learn. The business I was doing." I had to beg him. He wanted to give me money because I had a training program for that. And he wanted to give me money to come to that business. I had to beg him. Hey, see, please don't give. And say, please don't give me this money. In fact, he thanks me till today that I rejected his money and didn't allow him. Because somewhere in his head, listen to what I'm about to say. He was more concerned about the actual business than the generic processes. This is very important. This is very important. And so when people ask me those questions, usually I don't answer them. Because what they do is they go and leave that food. And then it's just like imagine you were both were in a kitchen. In that there's like 10 gas cookers. Now now on different gas different kinds of rice, beans, there is spaghetti. Let's even just use three of them. Now we are cooking spaghetti. We start cooking at the same time. There's a guy cooking rice, there's a guy cooking beans, there's a guy cooking spaghetti. If I don't really know how to cook like that, I can't cook to save my life. You know, I jokingly seriously say that whenever I get married, I'm going to live a very peaceful life. Because the day that I fight with my wife, I'm going to fast to sleep. Somebody said I'm breaking up. Please, can you confirm that? Am I cracking? Oh, I'm breaking up. Let me quickly change the network. Okay, so it should be sorted out now. Should be sorted out now. Can I get a confirmation as to the quality? Can I get a confirmation as to the quality? Is it quality better? Are we good? If we're once I see people, I need like 10, 20 people to type good. I see good, I'll fly on. Once I see good, fly on, sorry. So I need a lot of people to type good. Once you good, I'll fly on. Clear, all good, right? So back to what I was saying. So I was explaining, and I was saying that look, so there's rice, there's beans, and there's spaghetti. Then you are cooking beans and cooking rice. Somebody else is cooking spaghetti. The guy who's cooking spaghetti, his food gets done fast, right? What you then do, you then leave your own beans and then you go to the own spaghetti. And then you go and ask, oh, how did you cook? You say spaghetti. You will not take, or you look at me with rice. Say, rice. You start again from the beginning. And then you don't realize that the reason why your beans will never get done is because you did not leave it. The generic process there is fire must be left for a particular length of time. Right, but let's move on from that. So I started that to say the first line of thought you must realize if you want to be somebody who builds a solid entrepreneurship business, you must realize that your job, and I want you to write this down, is not to photocopy and paste what successful people are doing. Your job is not to photocopy. That's not your job. And I'll give you an example. And it's because, see, an underlay of many things that you do not see. I'll give you an example, right? When I started the real estate industry, when I got into the real estate industry, in fact, I see people who in the real estate industry, they say things like, um, they say things like, when I got into the real estate industry, I did not close any sale for the first 2 years. And they try to say some stuff that is pretty motivational. They tell you things like, don't worry, when you come in, you know, you will not be able to see any sales for the first 2 years, for the first 3 years. Then they will now end it with some motivation. They'll say, but you keep going strong, regardless. But most people don't realize that was not my case. I did not come into real estate and then have to wait you know, to do all those things. And I'm going to explain to you why. Because these are the things that people don't know. Per time that somebody is doing something, there are underlying things upon which that thing is resting upon. But many times, what we do is we see the success of the thing, and then we think the reason why that success is there is because of the industry. So we go and then we enter the industry without all the underlying advantages, and then we begin to fail. Do you understand what I'm saying? We begin to fail. We begin to fail. We begin to fail. So when I started real estate, most people didn't realize that before I got into real estate, for example, I had a community of about 15,000 people. All right. And my newsletter alone is about 10,000 people. On Instagram alone, the community is growing, but I mean, we thank God for that. On Instagram alone, about 9,000 people, right? On the Telegram channel alone, about 2,500 plus people. My WhatsApp status, there's an entire community there. So that means I came into real estate with an already existing strong social capital. But what happens is people will look and say, I came to real estate. But and you see, it wasn't just the number of people, it was the quality of people. So this the primary school, for example, that I went to, primary school that I went to was a primary school where it was very expensive. I mean, the secondary school that I went to was, in the middle, fairly expensive, was a mission. And then the university that I went to was, we can call it very expensive to relative to the average university cost in Nigeria. Are you with me? So listen, by going to these places, let me ask you a question. The average person in my contact list is somebody who has money or has somebody whose parents have money. Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? And so that means by the privilege of the line of education that I have built a contact list that is relatively solid financially. However, and I'm saying this, can I talk? I can talk freely happy. Oh, this is not exclusive. It's on YouTube. I wish I was talking to my community now. My community knows me. I'll give it to you hot, hot. If you like, you can leave. you know. But my community knows me. I'm going to hit it straight. I'll fire you like that. So now, but look at it, and you have to be honest with yourself. You went to Abakaliki Nursery and Primary Public School. Your primary school public, your secondary school, eh? You pay. In fact, it was free education. Everybody that were there was the son of Iyamoria that is selling rice, the daughter of Iyatubosu. I don't know if you were there. Eh? You go to school without sandals. The university you went to was a public university. You paid 20K. Let me tell you the truth. It's a painful truth. But if you went through that and you didn't have any other external source of supply of social capital into your life, there is a very high chance that the average person around you, their income is low. So both of us will get into the same industry. In a year, I can do very high figures. Another year, you cannot do the same figures that I'm doing because you don't know. Except you were very intentional about building the quality of your contacts. Is what I'm saying making sense to you? So what you now say, you will now ask me, Star, what business you do? Real estate. You should start doing this, and you'll be struggling. And there's someone I was coaching, one guy mentoring real estate. And when he started with me, I think for the first 2, 3 months, I had to tell him, I said, you have to do what we call sanctification. You have to go and change everybody in your contact list is broke because you grew up in broke places. So you have to invest the first 6 months in going to places to reorganize your contact list. That's what I told him. Right? So I said all that to say the infrastructure supporting a person's life as to why he or she can have the results that he has. Many times you don't have it. Are you guys following what I'm saying? You don't have it. And so when you copy the actions he's taking without the infrastructure that is supporting the actions, what will happen is two of you will get into the same field, but you're not starting from the same place. And you will not realize that all these advantages, he or she has them, and you don't have them. What would happen is you would then think, because he will be giving you instructions. For example, if he says something like, if he says something like, can you guys hear me? Can I get feedback that you can hear me? Can I get feedback if you guys can hear me? Okay, yeah. So I'm saying he will tell you something like post on your status, post on WhatsApp status daily, and all that. But the question is, the people looking at the WhatsApp as they are broke. Do you understand what I'm saying? Right? So that's the first thing that I said. Whenever you see anybody who has the results you are looking for, your job is not to try and do exactly what you are doing. Your job is to find the generic concepts that they apply, transfer them to your own life. Are you with me? So, listen, I'm going to zoom in directly into what I'm here for now. Pay very serious attention. When it comes to entrepreneurship, there is, listen, there is the act, all right? The act, and then there is the person. There is the act, and then there is the person when it comes to entrepreneurship. Now, most people focus on the act, right, which is great, but not many people focus on the person. Let me give you an example. You see, if you want to go to war as a soldier, war, to win a war, you have to fight. And so fighting is the act. However, it is not just fighting, there is a training that the person who will fight must undergo. This training makes the person to have the capacity to do the act in a way that will be profitable. Do you hear what I just said? And so, let me give you an example. It's like cooking. They bring person A to cook, they bring person B to cook. The same food, though. They give you all the same ingredients. Person A has been trained to, use ingredients in an optimal way, and then person A can produce good food. The same ingredients you give to person B produces concussion. You know why? It's quite simple. It's because, listen, person A is a kind of person that came from a kind of training, while person B is a kind of person that has come from the lack of the training. Is this making sense to you guys? Are you guys following up with me? Remember, I told you every time you see me, right, just know there's going to be deep, and that's what I'm doing on YouTube, so that you can rewatch it later. All right? Because some of you will not be able to unpack everything that I'm going to share with you in one single webinar. All right? Is that all right? Great. So moving on. Follow me very carefully. Follow me. Follow me. Follow me. Now, the next thing I want you to realize is, like I said, there is the act, and then there is the person. Now, it's if I was to teach on all this, it would take us like a series of days. But I'm going to zoom in today on. All right. So I'll zoom in on you, the entrepreneur. You, the entrepreneur. So we're zooming in on the person. All right. And I'm going to explain what exactly it means. And I want to show you, like I said, and I remember telling you, I'm going to show you some things here that you probably have never seen before. And there's a confidence with which I say it. And there's the reason why I can say it like that, that there's some things that I'm going to show you that you probably have never seen before. I've never heard before. Again, because these concepts, a lot of people do not understand them. All right. So I want to pull out some things. I want you to pay serious attention to me. Give me a second. So I think my screen should be sharing now. I'm not sure yet. Think- Okay, perfect. All right. So please, like I said, follow me very, very closely. Quite important for you. Please, can someone confirm that audio video good so we fly through? Please confirm that, please. Let me fly through. Now, like I said, I want to zoom in on what I call you, the entrepreneur. Please pay very serious attention. Now, if you have followed me carefully, there is a diagram that you have seen me draw before. But that diagram is not, I always explain it peripherally. That is, I explain the basics when I go out. Well, in this session, I plan to explain it a bit more in depth. All right, so you understand what I'm saying. So again, like I said, I want you to pay attention. So you have seen me in any programs draw three things. There are three things most important when you are starting a business. Or I'll usually draw this diagram to show how to start a perfect video, a business. Now, and I'll write three things here: passion, ability, and then demand. These are the three things I'll write. And I'll say, look, this is the best place to start a business. What is passion? What you like to do. What is ability? What you can do. Hmm? What is demand? Demand is what people need you to do. What people need you to do. So where this intersects is usually the perfect place to start a business. So some people say, um I'm passionate about something. You'll find out that the fact that you like to do it does not mean that you can do it. And I always give the example that everybody, when you were much more younger, you had people who love to sing. In fact, was it yesterday? Where was I yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. So I went to an amazing conference yesterday, and I was in that conference, and then DDK, Debola Deji Kurumi, really amazing woman. She she said that we should sing a song. She was trying to uplift the atmosphere. And in that place, I think the song was "How are you, my friend? How do you do, my friend?" Sometimes say be like say blah 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 blah. And so she was gingering us, sing louder, louder. It was just all good. And suddenly, I started hearing one high pitched voice behind me. And I'm sort of, I have some basic level of musical intelligence, very basic level. I'm not a pro. Draw your 2 years, say Bolu is not a pro. Voice say, so you say you can sing. There's one audition that before your hand. So then I just heard one high pitched voice, and this lady was singing. with her lungs, and she was off key. She was so passionate about what she was singing. How many of you have noticed it in church? It's those people that are off key that their voices will be the loudest. You don't know how to tap them. Wait, hello, auntie. Your worship is affecting my worship. You know. So the fact that you're passionate about something doesn't mean that you can do it. And the fact that you're passionate and you can do it doesn't mean that there is a demand for it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Doesn't mean that people need that service in the market, right? So, like I said, this alone takes us about 4 to 6 weeks to unpack in the mentorship program. Some of you here in the mentorship program. How many of you are in the mentorship program? Let's mention every other person that is not there. If you're in the mentorship program, send an emoji, or you're an alumni, one of the two of them, send an emoji, just mention everybody. Let them feel like they did not make heaven, because they actually did not make heaven. Ask them what they are doing outside, outside the gates of heaven. Hmm? Please, oh, you should answer me, oh. Great, great, great. Ah, mentorship, people should not fall my hand, though. Please, 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 please answer me, you Echo. May not look like see with the great. So please wait. This is serious matter. If you have passed through the mentorship or you are in the current mentorship, let me answer now. You want to spoil my shine. Anyways, that's by the way. So moving on. Thank you, Jerry. I can see you. So there's a lag between when I speak and when I see. So I can see your emojis. Hey, all you that are making heaven, share your emojis, and let those that are making where we don't know. let them I don't know. Let them give their life to Christ, which is the mentorship, and enter through the narrow gate. The gate of that is narrow. The wide gate leads to hell. Plenty of you have not joined. Hell. Fire. So, anyways, back to what I was saying. So we're going to unpack two elements of this. All right. See, I'm hoping that you're paying attention to how much value that I'm giving you guys, because many people, when they want to start a business, they are looking, they go and look for something to sell. That's all they know about starting a business, something to sell, buy, and it doesn't work that way many times. So we're going to unpack these two elements. We can't touch everything, right? In fact, we can't actually unpack, but I'm going to draw some highlights from this too. Now, if you've been in any of my webinars, you will assume that you know what I'm about to say. But I beg you not to make that assumption. You will realize that assumption is wrong eventually. Right? Because many times I don't have time to share this deep concept. So pay attention. We're going to look at passion and ability very closely. So pay attention as we go on. All right. Let's zoom in on passion. Let me ask you guys, first of all, in the chat box, can you type something you're passionate about? Please don't assume you understand, you know what I'm going to say. It's beg I'm begging you. Type something you're passionate about. Anything you're passionate about. All right. If you have a, what do you call them? A husband, man and woman. All right. Go and put it there. You're passionate about, put it there. You're passionate about whoever. You can put your boyfriend's name there or your girlfriend's name there. No wahala. So type something you're passionate about. All right. Type something you're passionate about. Great. Somebody said they're passionate about speaking. All right. Who else? See, there are two reasons I want to beg us to respond to me. Number one is because I'm doing this webinar from Nigeria. Doing this webinar from Nigeria, that essentially means network can vanish. If from another country, but when I'm doing a webinar from Nigeria, please, your response is making me know that at least you're listening to me and you can hear me clearly. So it's a subtle network check. Somebody said they're passionate about teaching. Good. Someone says they're passionate about speaking. Great. Someone says they're passionate about music. I wish it was a Google Meet. I'd have loved to unmute. Someone says fashion. Someone says finance. Everybody's passionate about money. Everybody's passionate about money, finance. And someone says leadership. Now pay attention. Pay attention very, very carefully. Now, the problem with most people is two things. Follow me. Is when it comes to passion, there is what I call, and this is where you can get lost if you don't pay attention. There's what I call the expression, and there's what I call the root. So, expression of passion, and then the root of passion. Now, many times when we ask you what you are passionate about, you say things in the line of the expression. What does that mean? Somebody says, I'm passionate about leadership, which is great. Like I said, that is how you express that passion. And let me use something, an analogy to explain this, and I hope you guys can understand what I'm about to say. If I am sick, maybe I have malaria fever, all right? At the root of this thing is is at the root of this thing of malaria fever, of is malaria, the parasites. However, what are going to be the expressions of malaria? The expressions of malaria are cold. I may be sweating. I'll be cold and hot at the same time. I may be shivering. I might have loss of appetite. I might have loss of appetite. I might have maybe right. So, um, subscribe if you haven't subscribed while you're waiting. While we're also waiting, I want you. I'll give you, one last couple of, let's 2 minutes till 8:05. While we're waiting, I want you to type thus far. What has stood out for you thus far? What 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 have I said that has blown your mind? If nothing has blown your mind, let me know that your mind is still intact. But if something has stood out for you, has been iconic, right? Share it. Let me hear. Share it. Let me hear. Right. So type it. If something has been iconic for you, type it. Let me see. Let me see. So again, I'll still use some time to wait. So the team, I expect the team um to take the new link. They're trying to take the new link and send that to every single person, you know, everywhere. Right. You guys could also comment team, maybe in the Google Meet. But that's by the way. So like I was saying, um, so from time to time, answer me in the Google Meet. Right. So um, what was I saying? I was saying yes. So type what stood out to you. What stood out to you? Right. So I'll wait for that. Something that stood out to you. Generic processes over copy and paste. Fire must. It's only for value the processes more than okay. Integrate you before you can have kind of results. Okay, set diagram. Okay, so if you're seeing the set diagram, if it's amazing you, if it's amusing you, um, you probably not really see me break it down. All right, so just chill. It will amaze you a lot more. I hope you're in the mentorship program. If you're there, don't worry. We have it. It's the mentorship has like 100 and I think 150-page workbook that I wrote and perused from scratch. So you're in for a deep time. All right. So somebody says it's not about copying success. We should understand the generic, repeatable concept that they apply. Great. Right. I said poverty is not a lack of money. Poverty is an internal construct, usually based on a particular set of information that is ensuring that your actions are always in the direction that will allow and ensure that the amount of money in your pocket will decrease. So when you are broke, it means you are working with a stupid set of knowledge, and you are proud, means you're not willing to even have new knowledge get into your head. And I told you that combination is the worst to have in life. All right. Okay. Like, great. I explain how lack of money is just one of the results of poverty. So I think we can fire on. Have you guys shared the link? I think we're all good to go, right? So I was about to dissect this diagram. By the way, this is a diagram I developed. I didn't find this diagram in any workbook or I drew it from scratch. I just want to let you know, because when I'm done, people usually ask me what books. The things I'm about to teach you, a large chunk of them. I mean, I pieced information here and there. I mean, this is not the first time I'm hearing it. But some, I get some from here. I'll sit down and then build the concepts around it. So follow me quite carefully. Um, let's move on. So I was explaining malaria. Malaria could manifest, or the symptoms of malaria. You see cold, sweating, shivering, loss of appetite. You may be dizzy. So all of these are the expressions of malaria. Are you following me? They are the way malaria will manifest. But at the root of everything, the root of the sickness is malaria. So this is the root, but then these are the expressions, right? So many times when we are trying to get things that we are passionate about, what we do many times is we find an expression, and we are not trained on how to drive or to trace from expression to the root. So what happens is we build, or we think the possibility of building our entrepreneurship career is only tied to that singular expression. I don't know if I'm making sense. Tied to that singular expression. And you see what I'm saying. All right. Meanwhile, we should be able to trace the root. So follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me. I said it may sound confusing, but just follow me. Follow me, let's do this together. So let me give you a practical example. All right. How many of you, when you were much younger, you were, let's say, a guy or a lady, and you had a lot of energy, you were very what they call restless, and probably if you had African parents, are you with me? African parents, are you with me? They would they would beat you, they'll flog you, but you're restless. So you go to a party, you go to a house, everybody's sitting down. Before you know it, you have started jumping up and down. Then when you get back home, your parents will flog you, say, "Can't you be calm? Why are you jumping up and down?" In Yoruba, there's something they say in Yoruba, they'll say, "Are obale." It means you, your body doesn't stay in one place. How many of you had that experience when you were much younger? Right? In fact, I had an experience like that, and I think it still affects me. In fact, a lot of you are suffering from trauma that you're not aware of. When I was much younger, um, I used to like food a lot. Some of you will not believe. I used to like food a whole lot. So what will happen is we would go to parties. And when we go to parties, some of you have gone to all those O1B parties. So I don't know why they don't respect children. they will see. So Tim, have you shared the link on the Instagram? I told you guys to take down the old link. I told you to take down the old link and share the new link. Can you guys give me feedback, please? Please allow me get that feedback. So take that down now, please, and share the new link. Okay, on Instagram, have you done that? So take down the old status and pull up the new one. Have you guys done that? Sorry, guys, I'm trying to ensure that relevant people get the link. Great. So, what was I saying? So, we were restless. So, when I was much younger, I used to like food. So, what will happen is we'll go to parties, and you know the way those people do now, Yoruba parties, they will be passing you with the food because you're a child. They will not share for everybody. When they share for everybody, they will not come back and they will tell you that it has finished. So once they start sharing food, my eyes will be everywhere. I'll be moving with the food, moving with the food. So when I get home, my parents will flog me. They'll tell me that, um, why am I doing like there's no food in my house? I know that. Why am I doing like there's no food in my house? That what is wrong with me? Can you come? Can you come? Can you come? I remember one day we traveled, and when we got to grandma's house, they brought suya. So it was a large pack of suya. Everybody was sitting down staring at the suya. Me, I don't look. Wait, there's something they call that you wait for grandpa to pick the suya. And some of you know how terrible this can be. Imagine your aunties, your uncles, all of us were at a large table. There's a large plate, really large plate of suya. It's like just imagine this really big reunion. Then they serve it, and then everybody is waiting for grandpa to take because he's the oldest. Like, I know they hunger. Are you even hungry? I'm gonna they catch you now. So young boy like me, I just stood up, went on this way, checked it, and everybody ate me with their eyes. Can you imagine the amount of shame that was on my parents' face? Right. I remember we go to the room that night, and what my eyes saw, my mouth cannot say it. That thing damaged a mutual connection that I had with food because eventually I had to kill it. Right? In fact, is what enabled me to be able to fast. When I was in secondary school, I did a lot of fasting. Till today, food is one of the least things that you can do to I just food is just sha don't die. That's what food is for. Right? Today, I don't eat any special thing. Any special thing. There's nothing you can cook now that my brain will come. Nothing you can do with me. When I went to I think 2 3 months ago, I had a short trip out of the country, and we got there. Every breakfast was a buffet. Every lunch was a buffet. Guess what I could eat when I would just look for fries. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not interested in fries, and chicken and ketchup. That's how I used to escape outside the country. All those. My God, till today I have a very, 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 very terrible connection with food. Why am I saying that? Follow me. Listen, it's some of you the same thing. You were very restless when you were much younger. So you had a lot of energy, and then they insulted you and they beat you. Follow, 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 follow. What then happened to you was this restlessness. You now took it and you suppressed it. You suppressed it. And so you, who used to be a very alive child, you suppressed that excess energy that you had. And what happened is, up till date, you found out that you're not really interested. So what happens is, many of us, follow me, and I hope you understand what I'm going to say. We had certain passions that in their root form they were good. But how we expressed it was not good. But because we grew up in African homes where there wasn't a lot of emotional intelligence, what happens is they made that thing look like a bad thing. And so your unique construct that was meant to be your advantage, you killed it. And you didn't know. So this person who was a very energetic child, what they did is they insulted the person and they said the person was restless and the person couldn't calm down and think. And so what happened is they turned you from somebody who used to be very energetic to a person who now has become docile. And so what happened was they killed what they should have done was to show you how to rightly channel that energy. Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? But what happened is they killed everything together. So the person was in the mud. I'll give you an example. I heard Joe say this. Some of you were very outspoken. Notice the words I'm using. Outspoken when you were younger. And so you were in primary school, they will ask you about a question, you will raise up your hand, you will answer. And many of you were wicked people like that. You do not know the answer, but then because this guy is always answering, eh, you now labeled him that he's I too know, or the lady is I too know. And so what happened was a quality of bravery, the ability to be outspoken. I too know. So even when the child got home, the child gets home, and then the child is outspoken. So when other children will keep quiet, the child open his mouth and then they call you I too know. You are the one that will go and report to daddy. They call you I too know in school, at home. They can call you Amebo because you always talk. You are an outspoken kind of person. What will happen? What then in school? So at some point in time, it will not get to a point where you know the answer to a question, but you do not want to answer because you think that it's a problem that you are the one always speaking up. And so the outspoken ability that you had that was a good thing, but you were expressing in a bad way, they will kill everything. And suddenly you move from somebody who is outspoken, and then you start hearing yourself say things like, I don't like speaking in public. I'm an introvert. I like my space. Sometimes it is good, but sometimes our current personalities are damaged versions that we choose to accept and live by. Is this making sense to you guys? I want to pause and see if you guys understand what I'm saying. Because the problem was not that you were outspoken. The problem was not the root. The problem was the expression of that outspoken attribute that you had. Do you understand what I'm saying? Of course, I get feedback. Is this making sense to you guys? It's the reason why I'm saying all this. If you know me, I do not say a lot of grammar when I don't need to. Is it making sense to you guys? I think we'll only probably be only be able to take one today. Are you with me? Is this making sense? I hope it is making sense to you as much as it is making sense to me. Great. Great. So some of you don't know that the current version that you are living in is a version that has been tranquilized. And so some of you were energetic, but what did they do? They called you restless. Some of you were strong-willed. That is, you have the ability to keep on something, and then they called you stubborn. But the problem many times is the root of our passion. Follow me carefully. The root of our passion is very fundamental. Very fundamental. So you are a strong-willed person, but then they call you a stubborn person. So now they say do something. You logically cannot see why you should do it. Rather, and some of these things were religious. Your parents, rather than explain to you why you should do something, would rather flog you into doing that thing. And so what it did for you was what was meant to be an advantage, to be a strong-willed person, somebody who has the ability to secure a thought and preserve it regardless of the external circumstances pressing against that person. Are you hearing what I'm saying? A strong-willed person. Do you know what it means to be a strong-willed person in this generation? That everybody can be watching a particular series. Look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a strong-willed person. He says he's going to space. There's nothing you want to do. They are going to space. Many a times, people who are pace setters are strong-willed people because they had the ability to move on even when the odds were against them. And so somebody on this call actually had a unique ability deposited by God within them to actually be people who are pace setters. But guess what? You grew up in people who were not amongst people who did not have the requisite emotional intelligence to find your unique construct. And so they made you see that thing you were doing or that character that you had was a terrible thing. And you know what? They crushed it out of you. But guess what? Many a times, that root of passion is very fundamental. And so probably you're meant to be passionate about things around leadership because this is a quality of most leaders, strong-willed. But guess what? You cannot lead now. You're finding yourself doing something else. There are positions of leadership that you're meant to have entered. However, that thing was crushed. This is important, guys. Strong. And so, like I said, many times they killed the root of the passion instead of redirecting it to help you see how you could express it in a better way. So if there was somebody who was stubborn, always doing things, and the person had a proper framework, the person will realize when to let go of his or her will. Why am I saying all of this, guys? Because this is it. This is it. Pay attention. We'll begin to climb. We'll begin to climb. I'm getting excited. I hope this is exciting to you. It's always exciting to me when I get to share stuff like this. And I don't share it much often because I need a lot of time to unpack. We're already an hour, 30 minutes into it. And I don't think we can touch the other thing I want to touch. Remember, we're talking about how to be a successful entrepreneur. I'm sure some of you were thinking we're going to hear buying and selling. Eh? But that's very, very, very peripheral. So I was explaining something. Sorry. Where's my notes? Yeah. I was explaining something really, really important. All right. Now, follow me. Rather than kill, follow what I'm about to say. This is going to change some of you's lives. This is all some of you are looking for in this life. You've not been able to find out. You must be able to trace from your passion, trace it down to what I call your root of passion. Hmm. Listen, and there's a reason why this is important for you. I'll round off soon. Tracing from your passion all the way to your root of passion. And let me explain why this is important. Because follow. Don't get lost. The root of passion, are you with me? May take different expressions at different seasons of your life. The root of passion may take different expressions at different seasons of your life. And sometimes, if you can't make this connection, you will not know that you can do something because it's not in the form that it's needed for you to do it. Let me explain. There's certain people, for example, that are under the sound of my voice, that you will get into a room, all right? When you get into a room, let me even ask if there are people like that. You get into a space and you just find out that you can never get into a place without cleaning up the place. You cannot stay in a place that is disorganized. If you're like that, that disorganized, let me see. So while some people, taking care of an environment is a chore, to some other people, it's something that happens subconsciously. You just find out that you stay cleaning. You hear some people say, I enjoy cleaning. I'm like, did they swear for you? How can you enjoy cleaning? How can you enjoy washing plates? Some people enjoy coordinating. All right? They enjoy it, they love it. So listen, what if I ask you, oh my goodness, I hope you get this. I'm even going to pause once I get the pause. When I ask you somebody like that, what are you passionate about? You know what they'll tell me? They'll say, I'm passionate about cleaning. Do you understand what I'm saying? Or I'm passionate about tidying up spaces. Are you with me? So what then happens is, if the person is looking to start a business, the person may not be saying, oh, since I am passionate about cleaning, it could mean that I should have a cleaning agency. And it sounds good. But the problem is that is limited. The root thing driving that person is that follow, follow, follow. I hope you get this, guys. It's busting my brain, and I hope it's busting your brain as much as it's busting my brain. The real thing is, this person is not passionate about tidying up spaces. This person is actually passionate about order. So the root of, oh my goodness, this is mind blowing to you guys. The root of the person's passion is actually order. So if you check this person, the person will be passionate about cleaning. If you check this person's notebooks, this person's notebooks, most likely, if the person, let's say you're in secondary school, or the person's notebooks will be very organized. The person will not draw a line with their hand. The person will use a ruler. When you go to this person's laptop, the person's laptop will be wrapped very well. Do you understand what I'm saying? The person will most likely, the laptop, you won't go and see the desktop is upside. Do you know what I'm saying? The desktop, everything, they will be in their folders. If you go to the person's wardrobe, you'll find out that the clothes are folded properly. But guess what? All the person can see is that I like cleaning. You don't like cleaning. What you actually have as a root of passion is order. Oh goodness. Is this mind blowing to you guys? Is mind blowing to me? Your root of passion actually is order. It is the root order that makes you to clean, that makes you to organize your notes. So what happens with you is, you identify this as what you are passionate about, and then you only look for opportunities in this direction. Cleaning agency. But did you realize that the person who has a passion for order, are you with me, can actually be a very, 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 very good interior designer? So when opportunities to explore interior designs come up, what you'll find out is that you will close yourself to it because you have not seen any passion in it. However, the root of the passion is there. What is not there is you haven't have had a chance for that root of passion to find expression in that direction. This is oh my goodness. You guys are in the master class and you don't realize it yet. Do you see what I'm saying? Right? Because the root of the passion actually is order. So anywhere that order has to be upheld is a place that you can potentially explore as a business opportunity. Did you hear what I just said? But before, you would only be exploring opportunities in the direction of cleaning, but you will not be looking for opportunities. So listen, this person whose job, who has a passion, root of passion of order, can actually be in the key quality assurance field, because you are somebody who ensures that things are always in their place. However, your mind probably would never cross quality assurance, anything around there. Do you understand what I'm saying? But you have a unique ability to do that thing. Do you understand this, guys? I want to pause and ask if what I'm saying is actually making a lot of sense. Some of you are like, oh my goodness, wow. So some of you, let me pause and ask, how many of you this is making a lot of sense to you? Because many of you are exploring two opportunities because you think that's what you are good at, not knowing that you are actually good at 20 opportunities. But because you do not have the ability to trace from passion all the way to root of passion, there's a problem. Some of you are saying it now. Are you with me? So the problem with many people is they have a limited scope of operation. Are you with me? And it's important. It's a scope of operation. Are you with me? Right? So you must be able to connect your passion to the root of passion. Let me give you an example. And it's part of the things I was saying. When I was much more in secondary school, I was a very rebellious person. If you went to secondary school, you would understand, you would have heard me. So in secondary school, there's something they used to call stance. Let me round off with this. Let me stance. So you know what happens is my mother, when I'm going to school, some of you that went to boarding secondary schools in Nigeria, you would have experienced something like this. My mother, when I went to what do you call them? Secondary school. So if you are ironing and a senior comes and wants to iron, they would do what we call, they would bounce you. When they bounce you, you have to leave your iron, leave the place for the senior to iron. And I mean, it was a terrible culture. Many seniors did it. Do you understand? Many seniors did it. But it just didn't make sense in my head. I always liked to fight. So, some point in time in the school, I was in GS3. The assistant head boy came. He assessed my iron, and I got here first. Are you in? Then they start trying to then say, hey, you're stancing me. So what they will say, you're very disrespectful. Uh-huh. Remember what I was saying. That's what they'll say. So the original thing was that I was strong-willed, but what they'll say is I am disrespectful. You must be very cautious of manipulative people who try to rename a particular quality that you have to you to make you feel bad so you can bend it so they can use it. Oh my goodness. What I just said is mind blowing, but I hope it's blowing your mind, because that's what manipulation is. They would they would reorient how you see that particular quality. And so they would make me, and I'll fight with them. Many times in the future, you see me, I used to cause problem. Are you with me? And some point in time, I found it a bit more problematic, because when I was oppressed, let me use the word oppressed, I was upset. But I found out that when people were oppressed, I would go and choke my mouth. So it's not be a case of, is it your business? They call you. Do you understand? So I entered plenty trouble. That was not my business. Just what I'm saying. I entered plenty trouble. That was not my business in school. They punish somebody. I'll go and treat my mouth. I said, but technically, if you look at it now, it's not wrong. It's his iron, it's his mother. Then they will leave him and then they will focus on me. They will focus on me. I collect cane. We know my business. Plenty in school. I collected cane. Oh. Plenty. In school. Are you with me? So back to what I was saying. As I began to journey, I still find that passion there. All right. You know, I became very passionate, and I up till today, I hate to see people oppressed. You know, one of the ways that that passion is finding its expression is through this kind of teaching. Because I found out that one of the ways that people oppress people the most in this life is money. Have you been tensioned because of money? I remember one day, because what I try to do when I go out is I try to go out as normally as possible. If you see me outside, if I'm not going for an event, you will not know, that I have some level of, progress in some of these things. Right? Because, the average person here in Nigeria is trained to treat people preferentially because they have more money. Are you guys aware? So one day, my phone, and that's how this store missed the purchase. I was going to buy, I think it was years ago. I needed to go and buy a phone, and I wanted to buy I think it was an iPhone X then. And then I think I just wore basic shirt, basic trouser, and I walked into a store. When I walked into the store, the lady looked at me, sized me up, that based on how he looks, he's very broke. This guy was black and broke. And then she said, "You're here to buy." I said, "What?" She asked me. I said, "Oh yeah, I want to buy." And she looked at me and said, "Oh yeah, second hand you want to buy, Happy?" I said, "How can, if I came here with a jeep, you know, and walked in and packed, do you want to ask me that stupid question?" The reason why she asked me is because of how she was looking at me. So people used to, I think it was last 2 or 3 months. I went to a hotel. I was, listen, there was an event that I was going to speak at for a very short time in Eco Hotel. I was part of the team planning it. Literally. Some of you know how expensive it is to do an event in Eco Hotel. I was there. Now, I think for some reason I couldn't get there with my car that day. So I can't even remember how I got. I think I tried to catch something to drop me. And I walked a bit. I walked into a hotel, and this woman was asking me, "What am I here to do?" I asked her a question. I said, we've got an event here. All right. My mentor is facilitator, and I'm going to be at that event. And I showed her. She said, "Let me see." I don't like to say, "Do you know who I am?" Because I think it's a very arrogant statement. So I brought out the phone and I showed her. This woman kept me there for about 10 to 15 minutes. I said, "It's not your fault. I no drive. Now why you dey now why you dey find my drive?" I said, "It's not your fault. If I will not even be at this pedestrian gate that you'll be asking me nonsense and rubbish questions." I answered all her questions respectfully and courteously. It took another security guard to say, "Why are you this let him go?" Because when I go, I wear jeans, I wear canvas and t-shirts. Are you with me? So I'm trying to show you something. The root passion of not wanting to see people oppressed is what I am monetizing today by teaching people uh, mentorship. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's one of the ways we're monetizing. Does this make sense to you guys? Let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up. All right. So the first thing you must do to be a successful entrepreneur is you must, and that's why people do not understand why I can move from one. How many of you actually genuinely asked yourself that question? I build businesses like this. You know, I don't wake up today, we do our feasibility study, and before you know it, I've launched a new company, and it seems like I just have the ability to start it and grow it in school. It happened to me. We did this is 7 businesses in school. All of them were hitting seven, eight figures. You know why? Because I wasn't confined too much to one expression of passion. I identified the roots, knew how to move it out. Does that make sense? Good. Now let's wrap up the conversation. Remember, I said it's it's a whole lot, right? And look at I'm not even done with passion. I just have to stop because there are a couple of things that I'm even to run you through a questionnaire and all that. This is sort of like a mentorship teaser. Now the next thing is ability. Remember what we looked at. I'll end with this. We'll be out of here in about 20 minutes. But how many of you are gaining value is worth your time? So I talked about passion and how to connect your passion to your actual root of passion so you could explore more business opportunities. Now, the next thing is ability. Remember, ability is what you can do. Hmm. What you can do. But before I go on this, I want to pause and I want you guys to type something that has stood out that is mind blowing to you. Type something that's mind blowing to you, is making a lot of sense to you. Ability, like I said, we're speaking about what you can do. So when we're talking about ability, we're talking about something that again, like I said, sort of really important. Now, listen, I want you to write this word, unconnected compounding. Hmm. I hope I have time to explain this concept. Oh, goodness. Unconnected compounding. Unconnected compounding. Unconnected compounding. I want you to write it if you've heard unconnected compounding. This is the greatest, this is the greatest advantage you have as an entrepreneur in the university, entrepreneur in uni, right? Not just in university, anywhere in life. You have the ability to exploit what I call unconnected compounding. I want you to type that. Once I see a couple of that, I know that you're on page with me, and we can move on. Like I said, there's some lag between when I speak and when you hear. Great. Good. And what is unconnected compounding? Unconnected compounding is the phenomenon in life, listen, where, listen, many times we get experience. And let me start with this. Unconnected compounding is an advantage that we have as humans. And it manifests in this way that we are able to get experience in a particular context. Follow me. But much more, we're able to transfer the experience we get in a particular context and transfer it to another context. Because sometimes experience, the context where experience is built is not the context where it is profitable. So, what we would need to then do is identify, and listen. Where it is built, I hope you understand this. I already gave you a heads up, but that once you see me like this without slides, it's going to be relatively deep conversation. I don't like to be deep. I like to be as simple as possible, but sometimes it necessitates. Now, there's something that happens in, I think, IVM, Innocent Vincent Mott. I'm not sure. Please check this. right? I don't think we produce any cars in Nigeria. What we do is we assemble the cars in Nigeria. Everybody that is a car producer. That's what I heard. Again, I haven't fact checked this to do that. So what happens is the factories where they produce all of these things, they are in places like China, maybe Taiwan, maybe Japan, right? So they produce maybe the boats, the boots, all these things. You know what they do? When they produce it, they now transport it. Are you with me? They now transport it. When they transport it, they now assemble it into a car. Then when they assemble it into a car, they then sell it in Nigeria. So listen, where the things are made is not where they are used. They are made somewhere else and then transported and used elsewhere. You see, the same way it is with abilities, the things we can do. Sometimes we build in places that are unprofitable. We build skills, we build abilities to do things in places that are unprofitable, sometimes with our knowledge, sometimes without our knowledge. But many times we do not know how to transfer the experience here, the skills here, and transfer them here. We don't even know that they link. Do you understand? Let me give you an example. You see, um, I did not understand, and I didn't know why. And that's why I said some of you are more able than you think you are, but the ability is not in the place that you want it to be, but then it's present. But then you don't realize that if you actually have done this, you should be able to do this. So when the opportunities that come that require that kind of ability, we run away from it. Give you an example. I didn't know something happened to me. I can never forget. It was life changing for me. So I had friends who they had special characters. Maybe one was very intelligent academically. Another person was very, was a sports guy. At some point, that might be a sport guy. At some point, you understand? So I had friends who had, you know, golden cups in visible areas of their lives. And I remember when I was, because me now, for example, I cannot code, I cannot program. I have some design concepts. I could design basic stuff here, but I don't consider myself a professional in design. Do you get what I'm saying? And so when I was in secondary school, I was in class. And as I was in class, I I had I was ranting about it. I can't remember the conversation. And then my lecturer was there. I was in SS3. All right. Then my lecturer looked at me and asked me a question that turned my life around. Because then I used to be the chapel prefect. Do you understand? So the chapel prefect was the guy who was basically the student pastor. So I would climb the pulpit a couple of times. I mean, I could talk in front of 5,000 people, 2,000 people, any volume of crowd. All right. I could distill concepts, take complex stuff, break it down. I could think in fact, there are certain times where the person who was to preach was not around. When as I'm walking down, the main chaplain will call me, say, Bolu. I say, yes, I say, you're preaching today. And I'll just look around, pick a Bible, because I used to do a lot of meditation. I still do. But so it was easy to me to I'll just get there and I'll teach a message sometimes without a note, sometimes without anything. Do you understand? Right? And I mean, teachers will be blessed. I mean, everywhere will be charged up. And I was in the class that day and everybody was talking about their gift. I said, me, I don't have any gift to. And he looked at me and he made a statement that changed my life. He said, do you know the oratory capacity? These were his exact words that you have. for the first time in my life, I realized that listen. Don't forget this, guys. I knew I could preach, hmm, but I never saw that I actually, at the root, I had oratory. That means I could conceive an idea, stand in front of almost any number of people, speak, and convince them. When he said this, my head opened. But I think he said something like, "Do you know how much people pay sometimes to hear some things you say?" So listen, this is what I'm saying. Where did I build oratory capacity? I built it in preaching. I didn't, right? I then had to transport that capacity from preaching. I still do preach, right? I mean, you can't charge to preach. You shouldn't charge to preach, ethically, right? I moved it to a profitable space, just as I'm saying, which in this case was entrepreneurship training. Come on. As they speak now, even not convinced. What I saw that I could do was I could preach. If you ever called me to train on any other thing, I would not do it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I had to learn. So all through those times, now some of you will not believe me. I have never gone for a speaking training in my life. Ever public speak, any kind of speaking. I've never ever taken a speaking training in my entire life. I've never taken. I think I would still take. I would love to learn some stuff, but I have never taken a speaking training. So listen. Some people go to speaking training. They will tell them, if you are scared, don't look at the crowd. So maybe they'll learn how to manage the crowd. They'll learn how to speak boldly. They'll learn things like intonation. They'll learn things like the gesticulation, how their arms, and all of this. Listen, what I did not know was that as I was preaching, I was compounding those skills without knowing. Are you with me? By the time I got to a field that I would have needed to learn the skills from afresh, I just dragged it because they had compounded. So, although the fields were not directly connected, the skills that I had compounded, I could import them and then I could become profitable from them. Is that making sense to you guys? So that's why it's called unconnected compounding. Many of you are not aware that certain areas of your life you have already built certain skills, but you don't know that you have those skills because you now need to deploy it in a particular context. I'm telling you, is this making sense to you? Some of you are like, the light bulb is flashing in your head. So I have some examples. Let me show you. Let me show you. All right. I also learned something. I still do. I used to go on a. How many of you go to an event now? You probably cannot network. You're shy. You're just as I say, you're shy. You don't know how to start the conversation. You don't know how to start the conversation. You get what I'm saying? And all of that. You look at people and say, how do I talk to him? How do I talk to her? How do I start? I don't know how to. I don't know how to. And all of that. And all of that. That's the conversation that's usually in your head. This is what happened. When I was much younger, also, I was exposed to a lot of evangelism. How many of you know that evangelism is one of the most risky things to do? You should meet a human being that you do not know. Just you meet a random human being that you don't know anywhere. You guys believe me? And then pause him That's literally what evangelism is. You want to have a conversation with him and change his fundamental beliefs, somebody you have never seen before. I did that so consistently. And you go for evangelism, some people will accept, some people will ignore, some people will reject, some people will abuse. Just all that. So go there. Some people will accept, some people will ignore, some people will reject, some people would abuse me. What I didn't know again was happening to me was a capacity was being built. It was being built. I'm saying it was being built. The battery was going up. By the time I got into business, what I did not know is that I had mastered the ability to sell without knowing it. I mastered the ability to sell. That's why I could also make a lot of money in business. I could meet any random person, start a conversation with you, handle your objections, get you to a point to make a decision, and the money will leave your account. Like some of you are going to pay me money after this webinar now to join the mentorship. You are going to pay me the money, whether or not you like it. Hmm? This is like a single class in the mentorship. I hope you guys are aware. All right, this is not the full program. All right. And by the way, in case you're not aware, this is the last. This first time I'm actually saying it publicly. This is the last mentorship program that is going to hold. After this, we're shutting down the mentorship. We're actually moving into another program. So, just in case you are studying, I want to tell you that if you don't give your life now, hell, right? Do you know what I'm saying? Right? And so, listen, some of us need to learn how to compound. For example, some of you here do not realize that simply by going through the university, you have built a very, 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 very strong ability. And that's the ability to work under pressure. You don't know. So, work under pressure. So, some of you now, under the sound of my voice, what happened? You went to, you will not read from beginning of the semester. You will read your entire semester in 3 days and you get an A. But you don't know that it's an asset. And so for many of us, sorry, for many of us, the challenge is we do not yet know how to move our ability from the context. Are you with me? And move it where it was built to the context where it is profitable. And that's where I was meant to then touch on this because profitability is not dependent on you in the university spend on this. So let me round this up. Your passion, I said you should be able to connect your roots. So I want to round this up and give you some action points. Follow me. Concerning your passion, I said you should be able to move from passion and move to root of passion. What this will help you do is it helps you to explore more fields that you did not think you were interested in. Let me give you an example. There's a particular friend that I know. He used to be a very good person in, okay, let's just at a time. Almost at a time. Roots of passion. Now, when we come to ability, listen, listen, listen. I said you must be able to realize that where you build an ability is not necessarily where you use the ability. So the first thing you must be able to do is do an audit of your life because there are certain things that you already have that you can use to make money, but you are not aware of it. Do an audit of your life to find out unique circumstances in your life that helped you to build abilities. For example, sadly, some of you grew up, you're a first daughter or you're a first son, and then you lost your parents at a young age,
You have to cater emotionally for other people. Do you know how much emotional intelligence you would have developed? You'll be far ahead of the average person in your level. But because you don't realize this as an advantage, you don't even know how we can then monetize it. And listen, another thing, remember, we're telling you how to build seven-figure businesses in university. Another thing is, look, I wrap up with this. You then must be able to learn the exact places in school where it is cheaper to build those things. Let me give you an example. Somebody goes to school now, every single, and oh my goodness, time is out. But can you guys give me a few more minutes? Am I wasting your time? Or should I end it now? Let me wait for your responses. There's a lot in my heart. That's what I say. You must realize the deficiencies in your life now that you're in school. All right. And realize those points early enough so that you can find contexts to build them. Those contexts may not be where you earn the money from, but that is where you will build the skill that you can then transfer to use in a profitable space. Like I built the skill of speaking unconsciously during teaching, but I'm using it now to earn money in quite other places. So for somebody now, you find out that you don't have a natural speaking ability. Now that you are in university, you need to begin to ask yourself, where are the places that give me space to speak consistently? Is there a literary and debating society? Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? So everybody is reading their book. You go to literary and debating, they don't know, right? If I was somebody who was shy, I just told you how I gained the ability to talk to anybody from evangelism. Some of you may not be able to do that, but what you now need to do is you don't have any social capital. You grew up as an isolated child. You don't have any friends. You need to build your social capital. If I were you and I was getting to the university, I would look to become the course rep because everybody has to talk to the course rep. Hmm. And that means I could master how to talk to people, build that unique ability there, transport it elsewhere, and then make some money from it. Now, like I said, remember I said this is meant to be a series. This is meant to be foundational. The exact places where you can transport it to, we can't have that conversation here. That would move us probably to another 3 to 4 hours. And I'll show you because that's where when you connect all these dots, that's actually where the money begins to. Are you with me, guys? Right? Some of you do not have the ability to multitask. Are you with me? That is what that environment provides for you. Do you know what I'm saying? And so that's the question you want to, because let me tell you the truth. I heard DDK say something, and I think it was profound. She said the greatest way to build conviction is built from a track record, a history of past experiences where you have done that thing. But the thing is, many of us do not realize that the version where we can gain these experiences many a times will not be the version where we will have to express these experiences. And that's where the foundation of, in my own opinion, building a seven-figure business starts from. Some of you need to join clubs that are useless. My goodness, I just said that. Not useless, but they seem to be useless in school. Are you with me? You join a club where they meet weekly, and then you're the one that has to organize and you have to teach on something every week. That discipline will build something in you. For example, you join a club club. Are you with me? People who literally have to task their brain with, I think, is it not eco-friendly solution, something like that, entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship action. You join that club, you are more committed than anybody, and they do not understand why. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's exactly the foundation that people don't realize. What people do is they ask me that stupid question: what did you do to get your first million? I say, I did real estate. They will enter and go and do real estate. But they don't realize that they are missing out on an entire scope of a controlled environment to build the infrastructure. That is the foundation that most people are losing. Do you understand this, guys? I think this is a great place for us to put a full stop to. Did you guys receive a lot of value in this class? Did you guys receive a lot of value? It's a free training and it's going to be on YouTube. It's already on YouTube streaming. I want you to do something for me. I want you to take a screenshot. Right? That's the only way I want you to pay me for this free training and share it on Instagram. If I'm looking properly, there are about 40 people here. Can we have at least 20 people share on Instagram and tag me? That's all. Just share on Instagram and tag me. Share on Instagram, tag me at Boluwaduro. Right? If you can, you could share something that you learned. All right, something that you learned and tag me. Let's do that. And while that is happening, remember there's a lot I can't cover, and I don't know how often I can do a free session because of how intense life is for me at this point. The schedule is really tight. However, and you don't have to do this, we have a paid program. It's paid. I'm not ashamed to say it's paid. If you are not interested, no. Right? I would sit down with you for 90 days. Like I said, imagine this is a class in the entire program. This is not the whole program. And I will run you from scratch, literally scratch. If your mind exploded now, it's going to explode much more. Some of you that have gone through that program understand what I'm saying. All right. I'm going to run you through for a minimum of 90 to 180 days. It depends on how much. Right. We're going to meet every single weekend and we're going to expound, distill, and I'm going to zoom in to actual practical things that you could do to make money, right? Because quite a number of people here do not have some level of serious financial standing, we allow people to pay for that class instrumentally over a long period of time. All right. So if that's something you're interested, how much is it? All right. It's currently going at 120,000. If the money is too much for you, no, leave it. Eh, I think we allow people to make a first deposit of something. I can't remember. I don't know if the team can send me what that amount is. I think it's as low as 12,000 or 24,000. Then they can spread their balance usually for about 6 to 8 months. So it comes down to like 12, 20. I can't remember the amount, thousand per month. Right. But for people who are on this call, I will do a discount for you, right? And discount it from 120,000 to 100,000. Right? But it's going to be for that for people who are making a commitment of probably about 10,000. Listen. I'll be very honest with you. It's a steal for me, right? To do this, it's going to stress me a lot, and that's actually part of why there's a last edition. It's too stressful for the amount. It is about, like I said, I think almost 24 weeks. I'm going to be online. Imagine doing this thing. It's not a recorded session. No, every single weekend I come online with you. Right? So if you feel it's not enough value for that amount, I agree with you. Leave it. But if you feel it's enough value for that amount and it's something you want to commit to, right? There are three options. I don't know the different places people came from. I told you the price. If you don't have the money, don't stress my team is very busy. Don't stress them. Don't text them by feet. All right. So you could text them the word ready, right? So if you're in a WhatsApp group, text it there. If you're in a Telegram channel, text it to the admin, or you could just put it here and put your phone number, and somebody will reach out to you. They're reaching out to you to show you how to make payments, right? And also if you have other inquiries. Right? You don't have to do that. There are enough free resources and send them out. Right? If Instagram, if you send me, let's make things a bit more easier. Everyone send me a message on Instagram. The admin will reply to you. My Instagram is Bolo Okunade. Right? Right? Just send me ready, and he will answer you, run you through the process. Like I said, everyone who is committing within the next 3 hours will not extend beyond that. Right? 3 hours. Right? I think you can do a 10,000 deposit, and then you balance up to 100K. I think it's 10K per month. They have their payments. Whatever. So that's something you want to do. Send me a DM on Instagram, and then team will answer. Don't send a DM to wherever you are. Telegram, send it to my admin. If you're in a WhatsApp group, send it to WhatsApp group. If you're not anywhere, just type ready on the YouTube chat and your phone number. It's the Bolo Quality Mentorship Program. I run with you for 180 days. Open your head and rework it to print money. That's exactly what I do within those 180 days. All right. So I think this is a good place, and I think we had a good session today. Fairly lengthy. All in all, I think it was a productive session. I would take two questions. Two questions. All right, two questions, and then we bring it to a close. Did you guys receive value? Did it make a lot of sense to you? Who's asking me a question? Yes, I said it's only 120,000 the mentorship program. This is the last mentorship we're doing also. And then if you do not commit, so if you're committing tonight, we'll give you 100,000 just do a deposit, and you don't have to. Don't be pressured. If you don't go and kill anybody, if you can't afford it, that's all right. You'll get to a point you can afford it. But the problem is when you get to that point, the price will not be the same, and the program will not exist again, right? But I just want to ensure you're not under pressure, honestly, right? So I think that's it. No, no, no. You don't have to have a business. No, in fact, there's an entire model of how to start a business. Right? How to pick a business to start, things in the products, how to find high profitable industries also. So we have you don't have to have a what do they call them? A business. So any other question? I think I was more interested in questions concerning what I talked about today. All right. Any questions? So I know there's a lag between when I speak and then when you hear. So I would just wait for a few minutes. But what is happening? There's some people here that have not spoken at all. So do me a favor. Can you type something that stood out to you? And are we fighting? We agreed now that we should tag me, share a screenshot on your status and tag me. What is tagging yet? Eh? Are we fighting? Right. What are the steps to get the root of passion? That curriculum is hard, and there's not a well-defined thing, right? System, but something I could guide you on. However, just take a while and think through. Write all the things you like. Honestly, that's where the great place to start. They're passionate about, and then try and think of their roots. Do you understand? People will be shy to ask questions online. You'll be coming to my DM. Okay, someone's asking. They want to have a personal session with me. Right now, I don't have a program for that. For one-on-one sessions, I do not have a program for that. Right. So I'm going to have, bro. It's going to be expensive, quite expensive, but just I don't have a program for that. Right. If I could answer your question, I would. If not, I'll come online like this and do a general session. Unless um, you have the money to pay for it. So you mentioned expression of passion and root of passion. What are action apples to? Hey, God, this question is coming up again. Uh, like I said, one of the ways to start, very, 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 very basic way to start is to um um you can have more than one route, but it's to think about your passion, write it down, all right, and then sometimes you then have to think through um sometimes as you write things and you find connected things,
Do you understand? For example, somebody says, I like fashion, you know, I like art, I like music, right? That person just may be somebody whose root of passion is you are somebody who likes when um when oh God, how will I put this in words? You like beautiful expressions generally. Do you understand? Beautiful expressions. Because art, fashion, you know, music that usually expressions of just what I'm saying. I said thinking is deep thinking is very important. But I can't remember what I said. Somebody say I'd rather die than think. Somebody people rather die than think. I'm serious. So that's my kind of thoughts. Can you have what I want roots? Oh yeah, sure, you can have what I want roots. You can have what I want roots. Right, but I tell people that you have more than one root is not doesn't mean sometimes people don't know. Hey God, people don't know that the having many passions sometimes first of all you will not use everything. But many a times I've seen in life is you will not use everything at the same time. One would lead into another. Many times I've seen it. Let me use a biblical example. David is an instrumentalist, he's a shepherd. Are you with me? What happens is, you know, they need somebody to play instruments in the palace. It's the instrument that takes him there. But because he's a shepherd, that's even a very great example when I say you're building unconnected skills. He, as a shepherd, he has built the ability to face the lion and a bear. But guess what? He never received profit from there. It is when he went to Goliath that I think they gave him half of the kingdom. Do you understand what I'm saying? So where he built it is not where he used it. Do you understand? So imagine he was there, and that's the problem with some of us. We started businesses, you know, in the context where we built it because we thought we had to do. No, you kill your lion and bear, you build your credibility, and then you enter the palace because it's the king that can pay you the kind of money that you like. You understand? All right? Do you understand? And then it gets there, and then what you find out again is notice we never ever see that David went back to being a shepherd. The moment he killed, his job description was no more a shepherd, but it was a warrior. We never saw him play the harp again, but it was the harp that got him to the palace. So I found out that many times the expressions of our passions, sometimes, many a times, they will be time bound, and we must learn when it is time to move to another one. And there are many ways to know that, but that is not necessarily most free curriculum. Did I question something? Hmm. Let's answer this last one. Something like suppress. What are the steps you get to? I think there's what are the steps to trace my answer. I've done that. Yeah. So what would I exactly say? Something passion. A passion is. I like so many things. Rank it. And I think one basic way they used to do it is they would ask you if you were to do something without being paid for the rest of your life, you know, what would that thing be? The answer to that question is your passion. Do you understand? That I think that should help your ministry. Is that all right? I think we're good. We've had a great time online. Thank you so much for joining in. I am sorry I sent the link out late because I mean I wanted to keep it as short and as small as possible. Small number of people here. All right. Team is reaching out to me. I think they're about hey God of passion being suppressed in your childhood. If that is the case, how can we identify them and build up on it? Ah, um, so let me give you a basic pointer. Many times You would find what I call RMR, which is called role model resonance. How many of you have gotten into a space you see somebody doing something and you know that you should be doing that thing? Or sometimes you even think you can do it better. I can do this thing better. All right. Many times when you find a lot of when you stand in front of, and I like to use a lot of scriptural examples. This may not be the accurate interpretation, but just allow me. So Mary is in a state, Mary, the mother of Jesus. She's going to give birth to the Messiah, and it's a miracle child that has never, ever, ever, you know, it has never been seen before. So bad, Joseph wants to divorce Mary. Are you guys with me? Something happens, an angel appears to Joseph. That's how bad it is. But there was something that happened that I think is very important. Mary goes to Elizabeth, and when Mary gets to Elizabeth, the child in Elizabeth's stomach and Mary's stomach, they had a connection. And for one of them, it says the child leaped. Do you understand? So Mary was in a period where culturally and environmentally, what she within her was not acceptable, and there's a high chance it had been suppressed. Because what we don't realize is that the Bible doesn't actually tell us about the other people. It's only Joseph that the angel appeared to. So imagine you are the mother of Mary, imagine the friends of Mary. So that means that thing that she was carrying that was unique was most likely suppressed. But when she got to Elizabeth, that link happened because Elizabeth was carrying the miracle child that was going to forerun Jesus. Just what I'm saying. So there was a connection. There was right. So one of those things you will find out is as you expose yourself more, you will find those connecting points where that's striking. You can feel a blood. Something happened. I went to a meeting with, I think I was at the Light Conference by Homer, amazing lady by the way, and a lot of speakers spoke, and well, they were amazing. But there was a guy that was on a panel session and he spoke for a few minutes. I don't think it's even up to 10. His name is Mr. Emmanuel Taffa. When he spoke, I said, this man, I mean, why this a WhatsApp group? And I went immediately after. And I just knew that deep was calling on too deep. Just what I'm saying? So sometimes that deep will still call, even though it has been suppressed. Right? And sometimes you just have to do some introspection and think back. When you notice that a particular quality in your life was abundant when you were much smaller, you can't find it. If you think back, you'll find exactly where it has been suppressed, right? In fact, you may not be able to find where it has been suppressed, but at least you can identify. I used to come, I used to confess in class. So I used to, just like I'm saying, I used to be very, and you can't find it again. It's still there, but then you need some assistance to help you look for it. All right. So I hope that's the last question. Thank you so much, everybody. Again, I hope this session was worthwhile for you, and I hope we can have these sessions more often where we have those conversations. Like I said, the offer for the mentoring closes 12 midnight. If something you can jump on it, will be a great idea. If not, see you in the next free session. Thank you so much, everyone. Have an amazing, amazing day.